I don't know. I think they're just going to kill us all. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Peter Thiel has like an enemies list of like 2 million people in Palantir.
Yeah.
And Palantir came in on the heels of Doge. Elon Musk brought Doge in to every department, to the IRS, the Treasury Department, education, the rest of it. And everyone that worked in Doge had also worked for Palantir. And so when Doge left, the Palantir people stayed. And what they're doing now is they're creating a master database that has your education records, health records, tax records, the Treasury Department's records. And they're going to be in one giant searchable database for this administration with a $150 billion budget for ICE that wants to take citizenship from people that criticize Israel. And that's what people voted for when they voted for Trump.
What is Palantir? Can you explain this just a little bit?
Palantir is a CIA cutout. So in 2001, after 9/11, they created this it's basically artificial intelligence or an algorithm to interpret these vast amounts of data. The intelligence community takes all this
All right, Shalom. I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakah Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth, and Shalom to the hopeful elect. This article is from MotherJones.com. The headline reads, it says, Tech billionaires want Christians to believe in AI. It says, for Peter Thiel and J.D. Vance allies, the tech right is framing AI as a moral, even divine mission, okay? So this AI is the new idol that they're pushing upon the masses to worship as the society is transitioning into the beast system, okay? Because remember, the true prophets of the Lord warned you about this, man, okay? This is all part of the beast infrastructure, man, okay? So we're going to come back to this article, which I had got from this video here. These Edomites are selling a new God, a new false God, right? This is the book of Exodus chapter 20. In verse 1, and it reads, it says, and the Most High spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy power, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, thy power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, upon the third and fourth generation of them that hate me.
If you tried to make up a story about the strangest alliance in modern American politics, you probably could not top the actual, real, documented alliance that Mother Jones just spent 10,000 words reporting on. A cluster of Silicon Valley tech billionaires, Peter Thiel, Catherine Boyle at Anderson Horowitz, Trey Stevens at the Founders Fund, all of them are now actively, openly, and expensively working to convince American Christians that artificial intelligence, AI, is in some form God, or God adjacent, or God sanctioned somehow, or at a minimum, not something Christians should try to slow down. And man, this Mother Jones piece is a jaw dropper. And after this video, go read it. We'll have the link in the description. But let me give you the short version, because there is a growing movement of Christian conservative thought leaders funded by Silicon Valley money, who are arguing that AI is the next great human achievement, that slowing it down or regulating it is, quote, faithless, unquote, and that Christians have a religious obligation to embrace it.
Yeah, this is the new idol, okay? AI is replacing the Most High, all right? This is what they pushing, right? This is 1 Corinthians chapter 8. In verse 5, and it reads, it says, for though there be that are called gods, whether in heaven or in earth, as there be gods many, and lords many, Verse 6, but to us there is but one God, the Father, of whom are all things, and we in him, and one Lord, Yahushua HaMashiach, by whom are all things, and we by him. You see that? So they're trying to, get rid of the Most High, as we've been warning you about, man. They're putting science over the Most High, this AI over God. Okay, and as he was talking about, the tech billionaires, Silicon Valley, they're funding these Christian movements to embrace and worship AI. Okay, total madness, right?
And they're pairing this with a Christian nationalist political project. It is, if you squint, it's the most successful religious marketing campaign since they figured out how to put a cross on a Jeep or around a demonic press secretary's neck. And who's behind this? Again, it's Peter Thiel, the guy bankrolling a lot of this. He's also the guy who bankrolled J.D. Vance's Senate run. Catherine Boyle, Andreessen Horowitz's American Dynamism Fund, whatever that is, invests in defense tech and surveillance tech pointed at the federal government. Trey Stevens, Founders Fund, which invests Anduril, which is essentially a privatized war machine of the Pentagon. They're not random people. These are the people that are building an AI surveillance and AI weapons infrastructure. And now they are pitching to Christian Americans, don't worry about AI. God wants it. And actually, if you really love your country and your faith, you'll stop those that are trying to slow it down. Because a China that beats us on AI is a godless China. So unleash the chatbots. Praise be. And the move is obvious if you know this playbook. You can't sell military-grade surveillance AI directly to the American people. They won't buy it. We're skeptical of it because we have questions. Questions like, should a private company know everything about me and everyone I know? Should a computer...
Let me add on to that. I got an article in relation to what he just said. Okay, let me pull this up. All right, this is from NBC News, and you see the all CNI. Right? So the headline here says, and when did this come out? I'm going to say this came out like a few days ago, right? But the headline, it says, AI is making it very easy for the government to spy on you. Some lawmakers are worried. AI's increasingly ability to sift through data and track Americans' locations have some lawmakers reconsidering parts of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. All right, let's just summarize this real quick. It's a long article. All right, but like he was talking about, this is all pieces of this beast infrastructure, right? And we'll read a little bit of this here on the left. All right, quick summary, and we'll go back to the video. It says the provided text outlines the escalating debate in Congress over Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. Lawmakers and privacy advocates are increasingly concerned that integrating artificial intelligence with existing surveillance authorities will create an inescapable panopticon of state monitoring. Right? And that's what it's all about. It says the core conflict, Section 702, and quote, backdoor searches. What is Section 702? Allows the government to collect communications of foreigners abroad. The incidental loophole, while targeting foreigners, the government often sweeps up the messages, emails, and location data of Americans they communicate with. You see? Everything is being spied on and watched and recorded, as we've been telling you. It says warrantless access. Agencies like the FBI can currently search these massive databases for information on U.S. citizens without obtaining a traditional warrant, right? It says, quote, the quote, AI supercharger effect. Privacy advocates warn that AI fundamentally changes the scale of surveillance. Pattern recognition. AI can be turned loose, quote unquote, on databases to find connections and behaviors that human analysis would miss. Data aggregation. AI can merge Section 702 intelligence with data purchased from third-party brokers. Examples giving location history, purchase patterns, and social media activity. All right, that's all part of the beast, man. They're gonna know everything about you, man. What you watch, okay, your purchase patterns, where you be going, okay, history, all of that, man. It's all tied into that system. Mass profiling. Experts fear that this allows the government to build comprehensive profiles on citizens, political affiliations, travel, and private lives. You see that? He's going to be all knowing, as we talked about the other day. All right, who you're politically affiliated with, what your religious views are, how you feel about the government, how you feel about the system. Okay, your travel, your private life, what you do at home, listening to all your conversations. Okay, this is where we at, man. Okay, the AI again is the new god. Okay, let's see if we want to read any more, because we get the point here. All right, they're battling for legislation. Let's see. AI industry involvement. Anthropic. Yeah, we talked about this the other day. Anthropic admits to granting exceptions for a small number of national security customers to analyze foreign intelligence, even if it includes incidentally collected American data. They state they remain opposed to, quote, mass domestic surveillance, which is all bullshit. Okay? Everybody's privacy and civil liberties are going to be violated. All right? This is where we're at. This is the beast system here, man. All right? So anyway, let's move on. Let's go back to the video. Right? They think they found God.
Like, should a private company know everything about me and everyone I know? Should a computer decide if I'm a threat, like a girls' school in Iran? Should a machine have veto power over human decisions? Those are the questions Americans should ask. But if you can get American Christians to buy in, evangelicals, white Christian nationalists, the politically engaged conservative base, then you have 100 million person constituency that will fight regulators on your behalf, and they will take it on faith.
Yeah, because these Christians are stupid, man. They don't know nothing, man. All right, and like you said earlier, it's all being backed by Silicon Valley, these technocrats. This is what they pushing. Okay, the AI is the new god. Okay, the new false god. Okay, and many people, as it says in Revelation 13, just thinking out loud. Okay, many people are going to bow to this system. They're going to worship the beast. Let me get that too. Okay, Revelation 13:8, right? Revelation 13:8, it says, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him. All right, him being Esau. Okay, through this system, man. Okay, they're going to bow down. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. All right, these Edomites, these 2/3, and the rest of these heathen nations. All right, they're going to submit to him. They're going to submit to this beast system, man. All right, and I was just looking that up in the chat. Let me pull this up too. Okay. So it says here in the chat, I put in, I said, how is Revelation 13 compare this to people bound to AI systems to be fully controlled and surveilled, right? So it says Revelation 13, which sits in a larger passage about allegiance, deception, and power. It's understandable why modern systems, AI, surveillance, digital identity, can feel like they echo this imagery. But it's important to separate what the text is actually saying from how we map it into today's technology. All right, so it says in context, Book of Revelation 13 describes a beast representing a powerful political authority, right? It says an image people are compelled to honor. Economic pressure tied to loyalty, buying and selling restrictions, widespread deception, and enforced worship. Okay? Enforced worship. Okay? They want Christians to believe in AI. They're pushing AI as this new god, this new idol. Okay? It says It says the key theme isn't technology itself, it is misplaced worship and total allegiance to a system opposed to the Most High. See? And what system is that? The beast system that we've been constantly warning you about, man. This is all part of that. Comparing that to AI and surveillance, there are some surface parallels people point out. Global influence, AI systems like ChatGPT or large-scale platforms can shape information and behavior worldwide. Monitoring, modern surveillance and data tracking can feel all-seeing, right? And that's the spirit, right? What did they show you in the picture? The all-seeing eye. Okay? It can feel all-seeing. Okay? AI is making it very easy for government to spy on you, right? It says, modern surveillance and data tracking can feel all-seeing. Dependence, people relying heavily on automated systems for decisions. Okay, yeah, you got people worshiping. That's part of that. You got these AI chat bots. You could talk to Jesus. Okay, you got AI pastors. All right, and people are actually communing with these entities, man. Okay, you bugged out Christians out there. Okay, it says economic integration, digital payments, and identity systems affecting participation in society, right? It says, let's go into the distinction. Yeah, here we go. Where caution does make sense, even without tying it directly to prophecy, there are legitimate concerns. Over centralized control of information, as we just read. Loss of privacy through surveillance systems, as we just read. Blind trust in algorithms instead of critical thinking. Systems that could pressure conformity. Those are real ethical and societal issues worth thinking about carefully. So this is what he's talking about, man. And people are going to be willing, man. People are going to be willing, all right, to worship this beast system, bro. Right? This is what we're saying. Let's go back. Right?
Constituency that will fight regulators on your behalf, and they will take it on faith. They don't need facts. They don't need you to answer the questions because God wills it. You have ready-made political cover. You have congressional Republicans who will block AI safety bills on religious grounds because you have a religious framing that means anyone who questions this stuff is now godless. This is a snake eating its own tail and then submitting an invoice for the meat to the Treasury. Because these same companies, Anduril, Palantir, Andreessen Horowitz, their defense portfolio, they get enormous federal contracts. So the Christian right, they argue God wants more AI. The AI companies sell more surveillance. The federal government buys as much as they can buy, and you and I, the taxpayers, fund it. The Christian right, they vote for the politicians who made it happen. The politicians, they get campaign cash from these AI companies.
Yeah, real quick, that's them tech billionaires, man. Okay, Psalm 73. All right. This is Psalm 73 and 8. It says, they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. Verse 9, it says, they set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walketh through the earth, right? They set their mouth against the heavens, man. Okay? This AI is replacing God. Okay? They put themselves in the position of the Most High through this technology. Okay? So they're proud, They set their mouth against the heavens, right? He does that through his policies, all right, his so-called, his pseudoscience, It says in their tongue walketh through the earth, right? Yeah, through his legislation, his policies, his decrees. Okay? Therefore his people return hither, and waters of a full cup are wrung out to them. And they say, how doeth the Most High know? And is there knowledge in the Most High? Behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world. They increase in riches, right? These are them billionaires, them billionaire trillionaires, man, that have the power. Okay? Let me read the NLT. Verse 8, it says, in this NLT, Psalm 73 and 8, it says, they scoff and speak only evil, In their pride, they seek to crush others. They boast against the very heavens, and their words strut throughout the earth. And so the people are dismayed and confused, drinking all their words, right? As he was talking about in the video, these boneheaded Christians, man. Okay, they're gonna be behind this thing. They're supporting it. Okay, they're being funded by these tech billionaires, Silicon Valley, to push this AI as being a god that people need to worship, right? Drinking all their words. What does the Most High know, or what does God know, they ask? Does the Most High even know what's happening? All right, the pride of these devils, you know? Look at these wicked people enjoying a life of ease while their riches multiply. See that? You know?
Round and round she goes. And I want to be clear here. There's some stuff that I'm saying and not saying. Peter Thiel has every right to spend his money. Tech companies have every right to lobby. Christians have every right to believe that AI is a gift from God if that's what they feel. Hell, they can declare AI their God. But what is new here? And the reporting from Mother Jones, what they document in detail is the coordination. It's funded, it's staffed, it's professional, and it is a full-scale political operation to remove skepticism about AI from one of the two major political coalitions in the United States before regulators have a chance to catch up. And what are Christians in America getting in exchange for this? For lending their faith, their institutions, and their political weight to this? I don't know. Let's think. Oh, they get more surveillance, more automated decision-making about their lives. We already know that they just trust stuff. They get more military spending.
Yeah, like I said, these Christians are fucking stupid, right? And they're leading the world right into oppression, man. A digital enslavement. And they're going to be the ones behind it. A lot of them, you know? Hey, wait till they push that MOTB, right? Yeah, you're going to have some resistance, but you're going to have people claiming to be Christian that's going to be for it too. Watch.
More of their churches being used as a recruitment ground for political projects that ultimately only benefit 4 guys in Palo Alto and an orange turd in the White House. And forgive me for some mild heresy here, because I say this as a former Republican who grew up in a fairly devout household. If Jesus came back tomorrow, I don't think his first agenda item would be, hey, let's optimize the surveillance AI procurement pipeline for the Department of Defense. I just don't think that's the type of guy he is. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm open to the debate. And if you want to debate me, or if you want to side with me, leave me a comment right down there below.
Yeah, so that's it. Okay. So you see what's going on. We warned you about this, man. You know? Let's go back to this article here. Let's summarize it. Get the points from it. Okay. Tech billionaires want Christians to believe in AI. All right. Let's see what we get from it. Bear with me. All right. Here we go. 1 second here. Okay. So it says the provided text examines the emergence of a, quote, techno-prosperity gospel, where Silicon Valley elites are using Christian theology to frame artificial intelligence and technological progress as a moral and religious imperative. You see that? You know? The need for a tech apologetic, declining public trust. Tech entrepreneurs like Will Manidis argue that the industry has failed to communicate its value, leading to public skepticism fueled by concerns over safety, job loss, and social sin. The technological pivot. To counter this, figures like Peter Thiel and Catherine Boyle and Trey Stevens are developing a tech apologetic, a rational defense of technology framed as a fulfillment of God's plan. You see that? All right. Hey, this is the devil, man. All right. Psalm 140. Let me go there. Right. Psalm 140. Okay. Psalm 140:1, it says, deliver me, O Lord, Yahweh Shemir Washai, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man, the Edomite. All right? Which imagine mischiefs in their heart. Continually are they gathered together for war. Hey, this is all mischief, man. Wickedness. Okay? A rational defense of technology framed as a fulfillment of God's plan. All right? They're going to use the scriptures to try to, they're going to twist the scriptures to try to get the people to bow. All right? To submit as this AI as being God, you know? This is all war, man. Okay? They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent, added poison is under the lips. Okay? Everything they push is death, is poison. Keep me, O Lord, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent man who have proposed to overthrow my goings. All right? This is all part of the plans of them to overthrow you. Okay? Disconnect you from the Lord, from Yahweh Shemir Washai. Basically, to trust in them, to trust in the system. The proud have hid a snare for me. In cords they have spread a net by the wayside. They have set gins for me. Salah, these are the traps. I said unto the Lord, thou art my power. Hear the voice of my supplications, O Lord, Yahweh Shemir Washai. O power of the Lord, the strength of my salvation. Thou hast covered my head in the day of battle. Grant not, O Lord, Yahweh Shemir Washai, the desires of the wicked. Further not his wicked device, lest they exalt themselves. Salah, yeah, this is all part of that. Them being God, this AI being the new, God, and the new idol. You see? Let's read on. It says, moral imperative. The movement argues that progress is a moral good and that Christians have an obligation to embrace innovation rather than to fear it. You see that? Here we go. See what else is in here. It says Catherine Boyle, Anderson Horowitz champions American dynamism, arguing that tech supports family values by enabling remote work and entrepreneurism while framing government regulation as authoritarian. Trey Stevens Andrew contends that humans are creators meant to seek progress. Despite his company's focus on autonomous kamikaze drones, he frames the development of smart battlefields as a moral obligation to benefit humanity. You see this? This is all the bullshit that they pushing to try to win over the masses, man, through this tech and this AI. Peter Thiel posits that those who attempt to slow technological development, Luddites, are the Antichrist. Arguing that only innovation can deliver humanity from suffering and mimetic desire. You see that? So this is what they're doing. All right, they're playing on the minds of the people, man, to embrace and accept this this digital enslavement, this digital oppression. You see that? Man, let me get this too, right? So Psalm 55. Right? Psalm 55 and 21. Okay. Psalms 55 and 21, it says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. You see that? This is all oppression against humanity, man. They want to enslave you through this technology. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawing swords. This is it right here. So they're telling you that humanity needs this technological development. It needs AI. And if you don't believe in that, you're going to be labeled a antichrist, you know? It says internal Christian tensions. The anti-AI right, critics like Paul Kingsworth view the machine AI as a demonic anti-human force that seeks to replace God and encourages humanity to abandon physical embodiment. That's exactly what it is. Intellectual clashes at events like the National Conservatism Conference. Traditionalists have clashed with tech executives, labeling the AI industry as globalist and transhumanists. Okay? Political and social implications, political influence. This, quote, tech religious alliance has found a direct line to the Trump administration. Vice President J.D. Vance has integrated these ideas into policy rhetoric, framing AI as a tool to dignify workers and usher in a new golden age. Okay, a new world. Okay, this is all part of the beast infrastructure, man. Okay, last point, the tech religion. Humanist chaplains like Greg Epstein observed that tech elites are essentially rebranding wealth as spiritual meaning, turning Silicon Valley into a form of modern religion to sanctify their fortunes and influence. There you go. As we read in Psalm 73. Okay, so this is the system, man. So, back in Revelation 13 and 15, right? Okay, Revelation 13:15, it says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So yeah, so this is that new, we're in that new modernized Rome, this new technocratic Rome. Okay, the Roman principles of government and economy, man, which is all tied to this AI system, this beast, and it's speaking now. Okay, and these tech billionaires, these technocrats, okay, these modern day witches and warlocks, these Chaldeans want you to worship and bow down to AI. Okay, it's all one big snare. All right, it's all deception, man. Okay, so my point again, we've been warning you about this, man. Let me get this in AI chat overview real quick. All right, that same verse, Revelation 13, I have put in how AI regulation through global surveillance, social credit scores, and digital IDs and digital payment tie into the image of the beast in Revelation 13. All right, this is what we got. Okay. It says what Revelation 13 actually describes. In Revelation 13, the mark of the beast is tied to authority and allegiance to the beast, a political, spiritual power, a mark on the right hand or in the forehead, a system where no one can buy or sell without the mark, which we know that to be the charagma, the chip. So at minimum, the text is about control over economic participation, a visible or identifiable sign of loyalty. All right. A broader system of worship, power, and cohesion, right? Why people connect this to modern systems. Some see parallels between that description as emerging technologies. Number one, digital payments and cashless systems. Increasingly, transactions are tracked and controlled digitally. In theory, access to buying and selling can be restricted or shut off centrally, right? They'll have the power to do that. Okay, what you can buy and sell, where you can go, what you can do, all those things, right? Number two, digital IDs. Governments and institutions are building unified identity systems. This could link identity, finances, health data, travel permissions, etc. Number three, social credit systems. The clearest real-world example is in China, where behavior can influence access to services, right? That's what's coming here. That's what's here now. Okay, where behavior can influence access to services, man. Okay, this introduces the idea of compliance affecting economic and social access, right? So again, if you're not in compliance with the system, all right, they can shut you out. They can close your bank account, man. All right, you may not have access to to buy and sell. That's the time. That's the system that they're rolling in. That's the transition that we're in now. Number four, global surveillance. AI plus cameras plus data tracking can monitor behavior at large scale. This raises concerns about enforcement and conformity. Okay, where the comparison does line up. If someone is making a symbolic or prophetic interpretation, they usually point to centralized control over commerce, tracking and identification tied to participation, pressure to conform to a dominant system. Those elements can resemble the structure described in Revelation 13, as we just read here. Okay? It said that that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Right? If you don't comply, all right, you'll be banished, What else we got? It says yeah, that's the point. Right. So yeah, there you have it, man. So yeah, just again, hey, we warned you about this. All right, we're here now, and there you have it. Shalom.